Hey everyone, it's Ryan with Stock Investing and Trading 101. Today I'm doing a week 10 portfolio update, showing you guys my stash and M1 Finance portfolios. I've had quite a few changes in the past week or so, changing my portfolio and kind of uh, taking some risk off the table and hedging somewhat. So before we get into it, I'm going to mention that I have some calls on the VIX, as well as some gold as hedges against a possible correction in the stock market. I'm also still holding most of my positions, uh, as well as my hedges, but it's just something that I wanted to mention. I'm also holding about 10% of my portfolio in cash, ready to pounce on an opportunity if something arises that I want to buy. That way I have cash ready to buy any dips or anything like that. So without further ado, let's get into my stash portfolio, which is made of a taxable account and a retirement account. So my taxable account, which is the bigger of the two, my biggest current holding is Boeing. Currently, I have about $550 invested, and it's down about 2%. Boeing had some news on Friday when the FAA released a statement saying that they were pleased with the progress that Boeing's been making, which leads me to believe that the 737 MAX might have possibility of being back in the air in the next 3 or 4 months or within, I'd say, middle of the year. Boeing has said something about the plane is most likely going to be in the air much earlier than their expectations, which was in the middle of the year. So hopefully within the next few months we can see some news, some positive news on Boeing, and we can have the stock bounce back. But currently my position is down about 2%. After that we have Home Depot and McDonald's, which have very similar charts at the moment. I bought the dip on both of these companies. Home Depot had some poor earnings, and McDonald's fired their CEO, which caused the stock to tank quite a bit. I bought the dip, and now currently both positions are up. Home Depot's up about 5.5%, McDonald's up about 8%. I sold some of my position, but I'm still holding a sizable amount. They're still my number 2 and 3 positions. I took a little bit of profits, but I still like these companies as a long-term hold. I'm just taking a little bit of risk off the table. After that, we have General Motors, which is a little bit of a speculation of mine, down almost 5%, $432 invested. This one, I'm just kind of holding and hoping they can get into the electric vehicle market. The stock's been beaten down for quite a while, and if there is any good news or any change in their earnings, I think this one has a strong chance of turning around. But until then, it's still going down. It's still in a downtrend. It's currently yielding, I think, about 5%, 4.43%. So not a terrible yield, but it is a speculative investment. After that, we have Walmart and Target. So these two are some new positions of mine that I've been building. Target tanked quite a bit on some very bad earnings. They came down about 12% off their highs. The earnings, once again, just weren't very good. It's their second Christmas now, where their just Christmas sales were not very good. And because of that, the stock has came down quite a ways, as well as Walmart. So I've been buying into both of these stocks and just kind of buying the dip, buying the weakness, and I'll be collecting the dividend. And if there is any change, I'm sure these companies will find a way to turn around at some point or another, and that's why I'm buying them, buying the weakness, and I, have hopes that they'll turn around. After that, we have the Disney company. So Disney is something that doesn't have a very nice dividend yield. It's only 1.26% currently, but I really like the chart. They actually closed down one of their Shanghai amusement parks because of this virus that's going around, and the stock has been going down and down for quite a while now. And I've been buying and buying it, building a position slowly, and I've been buying more lately as the stock is going further down. But I just think it's a great long-term investment. They have a lot going for them. They have just tons of things with their streaming service. They have the amusement parks. They have Star Wars and all types of media, and it's just a huge company. And I think for long-term investment, this is a good buying opportunity. After that, we have Duke Energy and General Mills, followed by ExxonMobil. So these companies have been holding a while. I sold somewhat of my Duke Energy position because it's currently up about nearly 9%. Holding my General Mills still, and Duke ExxonMobil currently down nearly 3%. They have earnings coming up this week, and they've been putting a lot of money into these new pipelines and things like that. So hopefully that will reflect in the earnings. But other than that, they're yielding over 5%, and it's just one of the better, I'd say, oil companies, and that's why I've been investing slow and steady into them. After that, we have AbbVie and IBM. IBM just had their earnings come out. They didn't do too bad. It was actually pretty good earnings, and they broke out to the upside. Currently, I'm up about 5% on the position, and I ended up selling some of the position, and I'm holding the rest here, holding about $260 worth currently. I think it was up about 300 or 400 before, and I sold down to 260. After that, we have Restaurant Brands International, Starbucks, and PepsiCo. So these companies I've been just holding for quite a while. Starbucks and Pepsi I sold a little bit of, and I'm holding the rest as a long-term hold. Restaurant Brands has just been down, and I'm just going to continue to hold it. For anyone who doesn't know, Restaurant Brands is a company that owns quite a few iconic brands such as Burger King, Tim Hortons, they own Popeyes. They have over 23,000 restaurants, and it's diversified by more than 100 countries. So I like this stock. It's got a 3.11% yield. After that, we have Walgreens Boots Alliance and Chevron. Both of these companies are down for me. Walgreens, I bought relatively recently. They kind of tanked recently, and they've been going down and down, and I've just kind of been buying the weakness. I mean, they're down year to date for this 1 month that we've been in the new year. They're already down 12%, and I've been taking advantage and buying into that weakness. They're currently yielding 3.5%, which isn't too bad. And Chevron, Chevron is, I think they have one of the best balance sheets of these oil companies. On top of that, they're yielding over 4%. They have earnings coming up next week, and I've been buying more Chevron. So Chevron and ExxonMobil are obviously both oil companies, and they're both kind of in a downtrending field. Oil hasn't been doing that well. It's oversupplied, and the oil prices are really low, which causes these stocks to be low as well. But they do have nice yields, and I do like. I think Chevron has one of the best balance sheets. So if there is any change in the oil price, which may or may not happen, I think Chevron is definitely a good company. We have Royal Dutch Shell, which is also in the same boat as Chevron and Exxon. After that, we have J&J, Clorox, and Schlumberger. So J&J is pretty much at their all-time highs. We have Clorox, which has made a pretty good move to the upside as of lately. They were kind of beaten down when I bought them, and now they're up about 5% and 4% on my other portfolio. And we have Schlumberger, which is a oil and gas company, and they've been actually beaten down quite a bit. They're currently yielding about 5.6%, and they had earnings come out relatively recently, and it wasn't really that bad, but the stock still came down. It's down 11% year to date, and it's been beaten down for years now. I mean, looking at the 5-year and the 10-year chart, we're at lows for 5 and 10 years, as well as 15 years pretty much. So this stock is relatively cheap, but it's not a favored stock, I guess, to most people. After that, we have 3M, currently up about 8.5%, which has earnings coming up this week as well. We have Costco, which got upgraded on Friday, currently up about 7%. So while the market was tanking on Friday, Costco actually got upgraded. They were down 0.76%, but this is a stock that recently got upgraded, and I wish I was holding more of it, but currently I think it's a little bit expensive. After that, we have some smaller positions. We have Consolidated Edison, Kraft Heinz. We have an ETF. This is they call it Global Stability. It's pretty much some of the biggest companies worldwide. ticker is EFAV, yielding 4.13%. And I guess this is an ETF that it's kind of a little bit safer than the SPY. It doesn't get as much returns, but when there's a downtrend, it doesn't move as far downwards. On top of that, it's got a nice 4% dividend yield, and I've been kind of putting little bits here and there into that. We also have Amazon, which I've been buying lately, and they have earnings coming up. If Amazon does go down on earnings, I plan to buy somewhat heavily into Amazon. I think they are a great growth stock, and they are kind of in investment mode. So they're investing in their one-day delivery, and they just have so much going on that in the long term, I think it's all going to pay off. Right now, they're in investment mode, and once they're in earnings mode, I think they will continue to go up higher. So after that, we have some stocks. We have Waste Management. We have Microsoft, which I'm building a position in. They were down on Friday, and they haven't been down in quite a bit. So they're down 1% on Friday. They have earnings coming up this week. I'm going to be buying slowly but steadily into this company, and hopefully we can see a small pullback in this company or in the market. And I'm going to be buying somewhat heavily into Microsoft. We also have EOG Resources, Lockheed Martin, which is pretty much at all-time highs, Kinder Morgan, which had earnings this week, and I released a video on. They had pretty good earnings. Currently, I'm up about 3% on this position. We also have Cisco, Apple, Macy's, Procter & Gamble, Corporate Cannabis, Hormel Foods, American Airlines, Merck, which I'm actually buying. They've had quite a pullback lately. I think this is a great buying opportunity. Ticker MRK, currently yielding about 3%. They're a pharmaceutical company. They have quite a few different things that they're known for. I think it's a great buying opportunity if you look at the chart for this company. They've had quite a pullback in the last week. And then we have some smaller positions, which I'm not going to go through all of them. I mean, we got FedEx, Caterpillar, which also had a small pullback recently, Campbell's Soup, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, which is something I've been buying here and there, just a very little bit. And then some smaller positions. We have Uber, which has kind of been on fire lately a little bit. I think they're up to $37 per share. We got Tesla, which I got for free from the stock party on Stash, which I made a video about. I guess Stash is having these stock parties every day where they give out a small amount of free stock. And if you sign up or if you log in between the end of market, which is 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and 4:15 Eastern Time, you get a free a little bit of stock. So I got about $2.80 of Tesla, the last stock party they had. Looking at my retirement account, it's very similar, a lot of the same holdings, and I'm not going to completely go through this, but we have Boeing as my top holding, followed by Target, Walmart, Restaurant Brands, Disney, Duke Energy, Chevron. So a lot of the same companies, same story. I'll briefly scroll through this just so anyone who's interested can see the companies I'm currently holding, but I'm not going to go through each and every one of them. I just want to mention Microsoft is something that I'm interested in buying, and part of the reason that I'm holding this cash holding, which I mentioned is about 10% of my portfolio, I plan to invest that in Apple and Microsoft tech companies. So that's the portfolio, guys. This is my Stash Invest account. I'm going to be uploading the rest of my portfolios probably today or tomorrow, including M1 Finance and Robinhood. But the video is already 14 minutes and I don't want to drag it on forever. So as always, guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like the video if you haven't already, and comment below, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.